This is the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. I am your host, Salenna Green. This week, we all a little bit fucked up this week, but we still here. And this week, we are talking about one of the most important things in life. Healing the Black community is the topic for today. And I'm here with none other than the couple behind Sink Seattle, a wonderful business here in Seattle that is ran for the community, by the community. Tanise and Derrick are a lovely couple. I met them for the first time at one of their own events that they invited me to. There is just, Seattle Freeze did not exist in any encounter that I've ever had with Tanise or Derrick. Like, it just doesn't exist. It's not a thing that they do. It's not something that you will find them participating in. Okay. These people are warm. They are part of the only warmth in Seattle. So it's really the warmth of the people that keep any of us here. It's certainly not the weather. Our summer weather barely act right over here in the Pacific Northwest. But these are two of the warmest people that I've ever met. They're instantly loving, instantly caring, really came into Seattle and just stepped right into the community. Like, it's taken people some time sometimes. It took me some time to really find my place in the Black community here in Seattle. But man, Seattle loves some Sing Seattle, that's for sure. So that's how I know them to be. Please do introduce yourself for the people. Let us know who we talking to.
Salenna, thank you so much for the kind words. When we feel the same way about you so much. So I'm Derrick Love. I am an Army brat. I moved all around growing up, and most recently lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where Tanise and I met. Started dating and we got married there. And about 2.5 years ago, we moved here to Seattle. And so a little bit about me, I'm a tech professional, self-proclaimed nerd, but also just somebody who loves community, loves to give back. I'm very, very passionate about the Black community, Black businesses, and Black unity.
Yeah, and so I'm Tanise Love. I'm originally from Gary, Indiana. Met this guy when I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina for grad school. And I as well, so my former career, most of my career has been in nonprofit. It's actually how we met. We met volunteering. And then we moved to Seattle and I switched to corporate. So working in corporate, but I'm still pursuing my passion through that. So I have the privilege of managing a nonprofit relationship for one of the organizations within the tech company that I work for.
Oh, nice.
But just me in general, again, like him, I feel like community is just deep seated in everything I do. It's just really my mother and father instilled it in me from a young age, from selling Girl Scout cookies to being involved in all the things. And yeah, I think that not only brought us together, but just helped us push through and push forward, moving in the middle of a pandemic, not really knowing anybody, moving into the literal darkness, but just pushing, using our passions, our gifts to just push it forward. And so we're excited about what we've achieved, but it's not us. It's literally the community that is achieving it. We're achieving it together. It's never about us. So, and we're just thankful for you. Thank you for the space and the opportunity and your just kind spirit. So we appreciate you having us.
Hey, I'm so happy y'all are here. Y'all, listen, if you are in Seattle, if you're in the Seattle area, go to a Sing Seattle event. You will not regret it, okay? All right, now.
Yes, come through.
We love to see you. Hey, Thursdays, vibes at the 5.
I love that. Man, y'all are really a space for Black joy and Black healing, and it's so needed these days. The reason why I'm saying we all fucked up right now, if you're listening, is because we, as a community right now, are in mourning again. We are mourning the tragic loss of our community leader, Elijah L. Lewis. His murder makes no sense. It was so senseless. It was so violent. It was absolutely devastating. And honestly, we still processing. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I can't, there are no words. There really aren't.
Right. Right. Speechless. Just shook. Really.
Right.
It's,
And
Yeah.
y'all, this is somebody who was all about healing the Black community, all about
Yeah.
building up safe spaces for the Black community, building up our youth.
yeah.
This don't make no type of sense. This don't make no type of sense at all. This is someone who died a hero and whose work will absolutely be carried out by the people who loved and respected him for sure. Now, yeah, when we talk about healing the Black community, we really talking about Elijah L. Lewis and his work as well. So please, listeners, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about y'all, the couple behind the business. Please tell us more about Sing Seattle. What is Sing Seattle? Why am I running my mouth about it so much?
I love it. Where you go?
Well, so just to give you a little bit of like background on it, we really feel like Sync Seattle is our calling. Um, so since we've been married, which we got married in 2014, um, we have been a very very social couple. We've been gifted in bringing people together, and we're also very community oriented and you know focused on giving back. So we started using our opportunities of bringing people together to support causes. So we had our New Year's party that we have every New Year's,
Yeah.
and
Our pajama jam.
the pajama jam, and so that would turn into an opportunity to collect cold weather items for unhoused people, and so we were doing that in Charlotte, and it's been on our spirit for years to formalize something, formalize a community out of this, but in Charlotte, we had our own community. We had a bunch of people we knew. We were there for a long time. So I would say we were very comfortable, and we may not have, or I won't say may not have. We didn't really move as intentionally on that purpose.
Yeah.
Fast forward, we were picked up and moved here to Seattle, where we had no community.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of a pandemic,
Yeah.
and so we were really hungry for that. So we started meeting some really great people around here, and we said, you know what? We believe we were moved here to become uncomfortable and
Yeah.
to be forced into this purpose that we've been given, which is bringing people together, bringing people and uniting them, uh, connecting people with causes, and supporting those businesses. Um, and
Yeah.
so that's where Sync Seattle started, and the ideation of it came from. I can let you talk about where we're at now and where we've grown.
Yeah, I think, and it's crazy because I think it was 2016 or 2017 when we still lived in Charlotte that we feel like God placed this on our hearts, but we just sat comfortable,
Mhm.
and we moved here in November 2020 into the darkness, and we were like, "Good Lord, Lord help us." So just like he's saying, we feel like he made us uncomfortable, and he's like, "Look, this really is your purpose," and I think what's helped grow us so quickly is the fact that everything we do is in straight authenticity. And I know that can be like a buzzword these days, but like we really live out the truth. We try not to be anything that we're not, where you're gonna get us raw, real, and just down to earth. And we wanted to help to cultivate that and one, find our own community, but two, help other businesses. I feel like sometimes people look at like business owners or organizational leaders as these like figureheads. But it's like, no, they're people too. They need support too. They need
Yes.
community too.
Yes.
And so everything we do with Sing Seattle is what we're hoping to do. And I think what we're doing, we're pulling that kind of just realness and just kind of like a feeling of home for people, regardless of whatever lane you're moving in. And I think people have been drawn to that, and so people keep asking for it. So we just keep
Yeah.
giving it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what it is, again, we're wearing our Vibes After 5 shirt, but like the foundation of it is our third Thursday Vibes After 5 happy hour mixer. We claim it's, or we say it's the friendliest happy hour in Seattle. If you come to Vibes After 5 with Sing Seattle, you're going to meet people that are looking to meet people as well. So that's, going back to what I said earlier, connecting people with people. We delight in seeing people come to these events and meet people. We've had several people come to us later who've said, "I've met my new best friends, my Seattle clique here at Sing Seattle."
Yeah.
So connecting people with people. Second, we want to highlight the issues in our community and the causes that people are championing. So we feature Black-led nonprofits. Black-led nonprofits, which are often lesser funded than their white-led counterparts and don't have the same visibility out in the community as many of those other organizations.
Yeah.
So we bring them out, give them a platform to speak to the people at our events. And the idea is we want to recruit people to be donors, volunteers, community advocates, board members, whatever that organization needs. We want to give them that audience there to make pleas for that. Yeah. And then finally, also supporting black owned businesses. So we bring out black owned businesses who may have a new product that's launching, or something that they just want to get out into the community, and we give them the platform to either sell at our events or talk about their product, or sometimes um, sponsor an event alongside us in which we can offer an experience that would entice members of our community to become longstanding consumers of that business. So that's the three pieces there: is connecting people, connecting people with causes, and connecting people with the businesses in our community.
And all of it is so important. Like, so much of what you said resonated with me, and I really felt what you said about your calling, first of all, getting you out of your comfort zone. And then that just reminds me about the importance of being out of your comfort zone at all. Because for me, as a community organizer and someone out here trying to promote my businesses and what I'm doing, networking is literally like, it kind of makes or breaks your situation. It honestly does. And in Seattle, there are a lot of really intimidating networking spaces that aren't even going to be set up with being welcoming in mind. They have no sense of building a community built into those structures. So to come into a space that is fostering community, that is connecting you with people who also care about what you care about, like, the ripple effect of that impact is just so huge. I just love how intentional the work is, and you're really helping the work get done, frankly. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, we appreciate you saying that, because even thinking back to me, I think I randomly reached out to you as a stranger on Instagram and invited you to our launch party. So you were actually at our first event.
Yes, you were.
That means you were in presence with my mom. Oh,
yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
And just so I do want to take a moment and take space. Like, yes, you are highlighting us, but what you're doing here is just as important, just as dope. Seeing you just bring this idea to life. I know we chatted a bit about it's been something you've been thinking about, but you just are stepping out on faith and doing it, and you are really here doing it. So every interaction, just from the moment we met at the launch to then us finding more about the work that you do, with Abundance of Hope, and then the things you're just doing in your own personal space. It's just beautiful. I feel like how this connection has come to be, and I feel like it's what we're both equal, what we're all equally about. So just a
Yeah.
little kudos to you.
I really, really appreciate that affirmation because, it's scary and uncomfortable to step out on faith and to do what you're here to do.
Yeah.
Because child, this world is not always affirming. And I
Right.
love what you said about Black nonprofits because again, there's not a lot of spaces where people are willing to even talk about the disparities within the nonprofit sector.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no, that's all nonprofit. Everyone there, has good intentions. They're all doing the good work. And I mean, I think that's a huge assumption.
Yeah.
There's
Yes.
the way that Black owned businesses are really able to be uplifted, and there's always a highlight and a spotlight on them as a way to provide something and to push forward our community is awesome. But I've always wondered why Black-led nonprofit doesn't get the same, push and the same attention, because it's another avenue in which we can move forward our community. And frankly, something that we ain't new to, we true to. Like
Yes.
our community is
That's on everything.
been taking care of our community. And it's really something that we acknowledge through the lens of like civil rights and stuff. But I'm like, are y'all connecting the civil rights movements to some of these other institutions that Black folks are leading?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it even dates back to like ancestries, even before like anyone even knew what a nonprofit was. Like Black community, we've been doing this, like showing up for each other, organizing, really putting boots on the ground and meeting those needs. And I feel like we're so deeply rooted in that. Like we should really be, Black-led nonprofits should really be the premier way of how the work needs to be done.
Absolutely.
But that's often not the case. So
Right.
that's our using our platform is our way of like we've always been deeply involved in nonprofit work, and we see the disparity and we're going to shout it to the rooftops until change happens, basically.
Same, because
because our people, we're historically, just like Tanise said, going back to our ancestors, we're historically a communal people.
Yeah.
We have always believed that everybody has intrinsic value and everybody has a true purpose in our community. And so that's our goal is, we want to make sure that one, we're highlighting the people who understand the needs of our community and are trying to exercise their own purpose, just as we are. But then two, you have people that don't even realize that they have a passion for a specific cause that's happening, that somebody's championing in our community. We want to connect those people.
Yeah.
We want to say, hey, you haven't heard about Abundance of Hope, and you have some compassion for teens that are facing homelessness. Here we have people in our community that know what's needed. They're boots on the ground and are ready to roll. They just need your support. They need you to jump in here and exercise that passion. And so that's what we're trying to help connect the dots of. And so I think it's beautiful, again, what you're doing, not just with this platform, but everything you're doing out there in the community.
Yeah, it matters.
Yep.
It matters.
We just got like this circle of gassing each other up, because I'm telling you,
I'm so here for it.
So important, because people don't even understand how hard it is for Black-led nonprofits. We're really not talked about and honored the way that we really should be in our community by our community members. When our community thinks about the nonprofit sector, the first 5 nonprofits that pop into their head should be Black-led communities.
That's right.
Interventions and agencies that they know of who are by their community doing their community work. And I really think there's a disconnect in our community where we don't understand that it's a problem when that's not so. Where we see value in being, on the board of, this predominant white-led organization here, but then, the Black-led organizations in our community are like desperate for board members. Right. And I know this for a fact.
Right.
Like we really gotta, we need more people championing that change that y'all are championing. You're really ahead of the curve to even be acknowledging, this huge opportunity in our community to uplift our community that just hasn't been happening the way it needs to.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I mean, it's imperative. We have to support us.
Yeah.
We've got to be the ones. I say it all the time. It's our community. Nobody's coming to save it.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming to repair it and nurture it. That's us. That's
Yeah.
our job.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because people like to this day will be like I saw this post on one of these natural hair groups, child, that I be in, but they were talking about like a celebrity who was getting his hair braided. I think it was Ludacris. And the person who was braiding his hair was non-black. And someone was just like, huh, like I wonder if like there was why like he didn't get a black woman to do that. And like people got on her and were like, oh, everybody can braid and blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, y'all, like, we don't understand the value of keeping $1 in our community in 2023. Like,
Right.
come on. Like, we have to move intentionally. It's not about putting no one else down. Like, put your cape down. You don't need to save her right now. You know what I mean? The other communities are okay. And it doesn't take anything from them to support your community first.
That's right.
It's never demonized to support your community first. And I love that y'all are promoting that thought to just support your community first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to something that you just said, I remember it was an old stat, so I don't know what it's like now.
Mm-hmm.
But years ago, I heard a stat that it takes $6 to cycle out of the white community versus 6 hours in the black community,
Mm-hmm.
And that's because, it's not that we don't have the entrepreneurs and we don't have the infrastructure of businesses. It's that we don't necessarily nurture those entrepreneurs and those businesses the same way. We'll have a brand that, is locally or even nationally recognized that is not black owned. You have a bad experience there. And, you kind of chalk that up to that one scenario. But, we all know, if you have a bad or not even bad, less than optimal experience at a black business, we're telling everybody, and
Right.
we're posting it online and Google reviews, and sometimes all we need is just the opportunity to highlight and celebrate one another in a more positive connotation, saying this business is here to serve us. If that business does fall short of something, let's help that brother or sister out, and let's let them know, hey, this was my experience here. Let's try to ensure that we're building each other up. And so that's the idea and the goal behind those types of conversations when we have the business owners out in front of our community members.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for me, I'm like, even if you don't want to go back to them, maybe try another black business for the same thing.
Yeah,
There's
yes.
Right.
have multiples in our community. You don't gotta just go with the one person. There's usually somebody else that you can try.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So let's get into more on healing our community. Like what is our community healing from? What do we need? As far as y'all are concerned.
Well, that's a loaded question.
It sure is.
I'll take an initial stab at it. Again, I never claim to have all the answers or the full answer. My perspective, our community has been plagued with generations and decades of compounding trauma. In some cases, or in many cases, dictated by the systems in which we're subjected to, and then in some other cases, just curtailing off of the effects of those systems in which we may perpetuate some of that. What we need, I think, unity is important, and I want to come back to that word because just understanding like a common thread that we have and the common challenges that we face. When we see somebody walking down the street that looks like us, especially in a city like Seattle where you don't see as many of us, we need to move to a space to where we have compassion for each other, and to where we realize and recognize that we're fighting the same battle, hey, same team, um, and I think that will help lead us to a place to where we're able and willing to support each other. We I can say sometimes I walk around here, not just in Seattle, but even in some other places, walk around and may see somebody that looks like us, and you kind of know who you're dealing with. I know as far as brothers, we do the head nod, right? That's how I can know I can link up with somebody and say I've got that type of compassion with this person mutually.
Mm.
But it's a really strange and awkward feeling when you come across somebody that looks like you and they meet you with a level of confrontation, or why are you acknowledging me, or
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
comes from a on my perspective, it comes from a culture of, again, just understanding and acknowledging, like, I see you, brother or sister, I see
Mm-hmm.
you, I recognize you, we're in the same space, and with me you are safe, you
Yeah.
know and I think we need that, an adaptation of that type of compassion for one another, and I think that's just the start of it. There's so much more, but just
Yeah.
my perspective.
Yeah, no, the nod is definitely like basic level
Like
test.
we're
Like if
here,
you're paying
right?
eye contact, like
Yeah.
even if
Yeah,
you're not gonna nod at me, like at least make the eye contact.
Right. Acknowledge
Eye
me.
contact and that little nod. That's all I need to know that we good here. And the nod, it really is no longer guaranteed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
wild out here.
that's real. Not to pivot too hard, but I think for me, as far as healing, and this is really timely with, Elijah's passing, is buried grief, unhealed grief. And I say grief not only in the death of someone, but grief in the loss of things. I
Mhm.
think really in all communities, but especially in our Black community, we have these customs where you, so if we do talk about the death of a loved one, you go through the process, you go through the funeral, you have, flowers, food, all the things for a few weeks. And then usually you're off dealing with that grief on your own.
Yeah.
I think it's become a bit more common to openly discuss grief, but since my mom suddenly passed away last July, I've been like, we need to be talking about grief. We need to be talking about the shit that we're dealing with deep down inside when you can't get out of bed for days, or when you're supposed to be focusing on work, but recurring thoughts of that loss is really fucking with you. And I feel like as a community, we've yet to like create one expansive, safe place to have those conversations. And
mm,
so I guess I'm just speaking for myself, like the need to find safe places to grieve, if that makes any sense. And I
Yeah.
think whew, with Elijah, we only had met him. We had just met him in January. Had heard of his name before, but he came to our January event and then a February event that we co-hosted with somebody. And just those interactions itself, and then being affected by his loss, having only known him that little bit of time, I can only imagine what everybody else in the community is
yeah,
going through.
yeah.
And so it's like, as a people, I think we need to get more serious about the effect that the loss of a relationship, the loss of moving from somewhere where you were comfortable to now being uprooted to somewhere you're not, the loss of a job, the loss of a pet, the loss of a person, just talking about what that feels like openly, therapy, all the things. So for me, I think as a community, we need to heal from buried grief.
I want to add something onto that, because we have a very suck it up culture, suck it up and move on culture, and that's been passed down, at times out of necessity, right?
Yeah.
as a coping mechanism to basically just survive. Um, what I love about, platforms like yours here and
Yeah.
what people in our generation now are doing is we're trying to move beyond that survival phase and just survival mechanisms to now we want to thrive, and we have every right as a community to thrive.
Yeah, we do.
And so I think the concept of healing the community and healing from buried grief and talking about those things is a foreign concept to many of us now, because we've been so conditioned to um, deal with it right at the point and then be strong and move on, suck it up, man up, or woman up, or whatever somebody says. And we've gotta be able to embrace the fact that at times we're not okay.
Yes.
Again, those days where you're laying in bed all day because you're grieving, we need to be able to talk about that. We need to
Yeah.
be able to acknowledge that, and it doesn't make you weak. It makes you human.
Yeah.
I love that we're trying to acknowledge these things now.
That's so huge. That really makes me think about, like, for people that has been so disrespected and so dishonored, so much in our recent history. It's so wild. Like, if it's almost like we've forgotten how to honor ourselves or respect ourselves, or what makes us feel honored and what makes us feel respected.
Right.
And I really just, oh man, this resonates so much with my personal healing journey as well. This, building up emotional maturity and intelligence as a community. Like, what would that look for us if we really dealt with ourselves in the full context of everything that we've been through? I don't think we ever have. I don't think we truly ever have since our ancestors were forced onto American soil. I don't think we've been able to take the time to really think about and heal from everything that we're carrying with us. And that's huge. What you're saying, Tanise, about these buried hurts, like the way I was just realizing an old hurt that I was carrying with me from my childhood, like
Yes.
literally like a week ago, and had
Yes.
to take the whole day and a half after to recover emotionally from it. And
Yes.
you know what? After I took that day and a half and felt those feelings, like a bitch is feeling so solid now. Like,
Now,
Yeah.
pain is not even so deep, I can think about it and I'm like, wow, that's so unfortunate that that happened to me. And I'm really sad for my past self. But you know what? Like, I got me, like when you really think about your hurts and you process yourself through them, I realize, well, damn, I ain't letting nobody do that to me again. I'm not going to
right.
dishonor myself like that again. I'm not ever going to allow myself to, be in a position that makes me later feel like, I've been taken advantage of, or now I have
Right.
resentment towards somebody because I didn't say what I needed and I just expected them to know it somehow, or I'm expecting somebody to be literally who they've never demonstrated themselves to be.
Right.
I got these
Right.
expectations that are never going to be met. And so now I'm upset about that. Like, when you put
Yes.
all that down and you process it, you feel so much better and you find out it is worth the work, because it
Yes.
is work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Believe me, it's yes, I hear you fully. So after I lost my mom in July, I was already in therapy, but had fell off, wasn't regular with it. But I think it took her passing to really begin to do the work. And it's like therapy is a beautiful journey, but it's hard as hell. Like, it's you see stuff within you, and you're like, well, God, well, like, am I the problem? So it's like so many different things can come up, or was that person the problem? But I've been holding on to it, and they've moved on, and you haven't worked there for so many things can happen if you unbury the hurt, if you really just let yourself grieve whatever those emotions are. I feel that so deeply, even still, like 8 months after, honoring myself by keeping up with therapy sessions. And I do want to recognize that therapy can be a privilege because of affordability, etc. I know that I'm so thankful for the state of Washington because I think it's the Loveland Therapy Fund. There are a couple of funds where you can get like 4 to 8 sessions for free. And so it's just, I'm rambling now, but I'm just like, it's so,
This
it,
is good information.
it's impacted me. And I'm like, I don't know if you can tell, but
Oh yeah.
I'm like this. It's hard, but it also just makes you more like introspective of yourself. I feel like I just think deeper now. Like I think more about how I feel or what's happening in the world and how it affects me, like who I am as a being. And I feel like we move so fast. We've been so hurt by systems, by society, by loved ones that we haven't taken the time to like sit in that hurt and really move past it. So
Yes.
that's what I'm hoping to. Yeah.
That's what I
It's
gotta credit Tanise with, like, because if you look back to this past summer,
mm-hmm.
she really didn't know how she was gonna get through a lot of the grief she was dealing with.
Right.
That all of us were there, right? But Tanise definitely was, and she confronted it and was very intentional and did the work, did the hard things, did the hard thing, the things that were hard for her to face and admit to herself and to talk through. And there were times where she was coming to me with different perspectives that she had on everything, and I was just like, wow, like so when you ask, like, oh, I don't know if you can tell, you could see the differences. Like, I absolutely see the differences, and now she's helping other people get through a lot of their own grief and trauma. And to me, that's an amazing thing to be able to do in this amount of time. After
Yeah.
her mother passing. So I applaud her and I'm proud of Tanise for where she's gone with this journey.
Yeah, and we were talking about healing. I feel like me talking about it is literally helping to heal me. So sharing my grief, my experience, all the things that I'm gone through, shared it live and well at Think Seattle in front of 50 plus people. Like it's just something about it that I feel like I'm supposed to share. And so, even if you're not ready for therapy, I just tell people like take it moment by moment, but meet your feelings where they're at. Like try to have some intimate time with yourself to think through the things that are really affecting you in life and how that pours over into everything else. And so, child, I'm a work in progress, okay? But it's been healing. So, yeah, it's tough, but I'm working on it.
And that's the thing about the work. It is hard, but it's so rewarding if you just
Yeah,
do the work. And it really is like getting people to do the work. It's a journey.
it
That's a
is.
part of what we doing here, right? Just making the space.
Yeah,
And speaking of making the space, because we talked about, what our community needs. Let's talk about like what is Sing Seattle providing? Like this is a space that y'all are providing for healing and connection. And I want to talk more about that. Like I feel like we really touched on some things already when we talked about, um, kind of how Seattle has this little freeze that y'all are out here melting. And really what that does for the Black community here in Seattle that is very small and isolated. Like we doing some very powerful things over at Sing Seattle to heal the Black community.
I would say, like, if you ask, what are we doing? I think we're elevating Black joy, helping people in the community who might feel displaced, out of place, alienated. We're helping provide them a little piece of home, comfortability. I think we are helping to invest literally monetarily, but also whether it be material goods or word of mouth, we're literally investing back into our community, both for profit businesses, whether that's a product or a service, but just as importantly, if not more importantly, Black-led nonprofits. And so everything you see connected to Sing Seattle is us pouring into the community. It's not for pomp and circumstance. It's not for notoriety. It's literally showing up where we needed support and we created the space. And we are now hoping that we're helping people find just a little piece of them in Seattle through our events. And so also it's fun as hell. Okay. Like we be turning up. All right. So it's like this time, like one of our first events, we had somebody who had moved, I think a year before, and they were like, I'd never go out, but I came out, and he was like, this is the first time I feel like I could like fully let my hair down and 100% be me. And I'm like,
Wow.
damn, like that's super, like that's what we're hoping to achieve. And we hope that every person that comes can just come and show up as them, not feeling like they have to act a certain way, be a certain way. And I feel like us creating that atmosphere helps them be more receptive to the message that we're trying to portray with these missions of these nonprofits, with the products or services that these Black business owners are trying to push forward. Because think about it, like if you come to whatever XYZ event and you don't feel comfortable, or maybe you're super tired and nobody's really talking to you, so you're in the corner and you end up going home. Like we hope to achieve that you come, you're automatically welcome, walking literally into the door. And you're gonna find at least one person you can chop it up with, and you might be connecting with them the whole night. And being able to let your hair down and, like, you know, let those blinders down, you now are open to just receiving and hearing more about what we have to offer. So
yes, I
I want
love
to
it.
I want to go back to a single word. That's home.
Yeah.
Right. As you know, in this country, Black folks, we don't necessarily feel at home everywhere.
Right.
We don't feel welcome everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I want to shout out Traveling While Black. When we were looking to move here, you know, got the job offer here. I had been here. I spent 24 hours here in Seattle before that for an interview. Tanise has never been here. So we're like, oh my goodness, like, are we actually going to move to this place? We don't know anything about it. And we were looking on YouTube and we found Traveling While Black in Seattle, which is now Traveling While Black. We binged their episodes and we said, okay, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
we're gonna be okay there.
Yeah.
Well, what I love now is we're able to pay some of that same energy forward. And you know, we have people that come to our events sometimes, literally at, it wasn't our last one in March. I want to say it was in February. We had a couple that came that hadn't even moved here yet.
Yeah.
They're still planning on moving here. Yeah. And they came out and they said, okay, yeah, we want to check out the community here. And we were looking up different things to do. And wow, we came out to this and now they're really motivated to move here. We have the right to feel at home here. This is a beautiful place. We love it here. And we want our people to feel at home. We kept meeting people in our first year here who were Black, who lived here, who weren't from here, and they were all foot out the door, ready to go. And I'm moving back to the Southeast or the East Coast or wherever because I don't feel welcome here. Well, we're trying to change that. That's part of it. You have the right to feel at home here and to enjoy the beauty of this place and all the opportunities here, and to feel like you're accepted and you're loved and you matter, and you're a part of something here.
Yeah.
So that's I mean, I really feel like we're providing that. People tell us that at every event, and it makes it all worth it.
Yep.
Let me be another person to affirm that you are absolutely providing that at every event. I recently went to a yoga event and brunch with Sing Seattle, y'all. Like, okay, I love brunch, right? We love some yoga, a little bit of movement, and the people there were amazing. I actually ended up going by myself. This was the first time because, look, I come from a big family. I was born alone, and then after that, I ain't do nothing alone until I went off to college.
Right.
So, but I was like, let me go out and by my little cute self and see like what I can do. And I felt so welcome. I felt at home. I was chatting people up, and I'm an introvert. I don't even be doing that.
Yeah.
But like, if I feel comfortable, you know, another side of me comes out, and I'm a little bit more communicative, and I want to talk to people and see what they're about. And that is what Sing Seattle events bring out. It brings out the community. And right now, like, we are desperate for a community, for something real, for a genuine connection.
Absolutely.
And a place where we don't have to pretend.
Right.
Like, we got this pretending ass culture here in the US, and it's all about projecting, you know, the perfect aesthetic or whatever it is. And encouraging Black people to just be who we are, and all of our beautiful diversity, and all of our beautiful shades that we are, and all of our beautiful interests that we have. Like, that is already power that we are. It's time to reclaim it. It's time to be who we are. It's time to not feel ashamed to take up space, and to know that we deserve to do so. Okay, like, look.
Yeah, I heard preaching.
Be here, okay? And Sing Seattle told me I got the right to be. So
yes.
I love it. I love y'all so much.
Love is real. You and I'm just, we're equally excited. I know we keep gassing each other back and forth, but we mean it. Like, this right here, like, you are doing it. Like, literally the name of your podcast, like, you are out here putting in the work. I know your podcast just started, and it'll, you know, you have your official launch, which we're excited to promote, but like, you're doing the work, and don't forget this. Like, don't forget your roots, and just keep going. Like, this is your gift. Like, you gotta keep going. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you so much, Tanise. I really am gonna do that. I'm gonna do that, because I'm gonna listen to the people in my life who affirm me. I'm really gonna do that. And I suggest listeners, anybody here today, tonight, whenever you listening to this, move in the direction of the people who affirm you. Believe the people who affirm you, because they see something in you, the true you, and you can't let your doubts or your intrusive thoughts or your insecurities stop that shine. So
that's right.
Good word for y'all. Now, Sing Seattle, please tell people where they can reach you, how they can find you, and come and be a part of these amazing community events that you are throwing.
So singseattle.com, website built by hubby. Instagram, sync.seattle.
TikTok is the same, sync.seattle.
Yeah, we got to get it together on TikTok, but we're going to start posting more.
Every third Thursday, you can find us at Still Liquor in Capitol Hill for Vibes After 5, 6 to 9 p.m.
Yeah, so that's our like mainstay event at minimum every month, third Thursdays, Vibes After 5, 6 to 9, Still Liquor. But starting in April this month, we'll also be doing additional experiences. So, like you mentioned, in the past we've done yoga, rooftop candle making. We've keep surveying our audience, and so we got some good stuff coming in store. But then also just promoting other things that are happening in the community. So, yeah, I think Instagram, probably it's between Instagram, our website, and then our newsletter is where you'll kind of find us most regularly.
You can follow us on Eventbrite too.
Yeah.
If you just search for Sing Seattle, follow us on there. And you know, as you do that, whatever events we pop out there, they'll automatically notify you.
Yep. Step out season is almost upon us, y'all. Okay.
Yes.
Summer is coming.
Yeah.
We wearing less and going out more.
I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it.
On Eventbrite, so you can be at all the events. Okay. And then also, if y'all trying to help me out, review this podcast on Spotify. Give me those 5 stars. Hit the follow button. Okay. And come back here and do this with me again and again. Thank you so much.
You know we're going to hype you up. You already know.
Thank you, Derrick and Tanise, so much for being here. This is the Hot Girls Healing Podcast, and I'm your host, Salenna Green. I will see you next time. All right.